Hey ABC, it's Greeno. It's been a little while. Felt like doing a video today. Update what's spinning kind of thing. Pretty heavy on the what's spinning. Definitely have a lot of new stuff in. But when I've been able to spin records, which hasn't been a lot lately, got a lot going on. But over the last 3 or 4 weeks since the last video I made, I've kind of found myself pulling stuff out of the collection and new stuff that is slowly trickling in. It's just been kind of piling up, but that's cool. We'll get to it eventually, and the fun of it. So let's kind of jump in here. Got a couple new things right at the beginning here, and then a big pile of just what's been spinning, and it's all over the map. Pretty much all hard rock metal stuff, of course. But let's jump into it. Record store day. I really don't do record store day. I really don't go out and fight the masses actually anymore. I haven't even been to a record store maybe once or twice this year. Probably. That's about it. I just don't find much anymore, man. It's like everything's picked over, and I know I'm probably missing stuff, as it comes in used and everything. But I'm happy right now just keeping up with new releases and amazing reissues coming out this year. But anyways, record store day. There was one thing I kind of wanted, and I reached out to a couple VC guys, just saying, hey, if you're out and about and see one, grab it, and I'll send you some money, do a trade, whatever you want to do. So, Brother Vance, all the way up in Chicago, came through for me, man. He's out running around, texting me, hey, I didn't see one here, saw one here, I'll get it for you, and that's what he did. Basically, I just wanted the Def Leppard EP, which is very cool. It's probably been shown a million times. I'm way behind on watching videos. So, sure it's nothing nobody hasn't seen already. But I was super happy to get this. Basically, I knew it was coming out record store day, so I wanted to grab one, and Vance was cool enough to grab it. And we did a trade. So he sent me this and all kind of little stuff, which I've actually already put away. I have like a couple boxes where I put like buttons and stickers and just miscellaneous music stuff. And he sent some very cool Zeppelin stuff. It's Vance, He's going to send some cool Zeppelin stuff from the reissues that were just done not long ago, which very cool. I think he'd actually sent me a couple from when he reissues started, but these are different. The ones he sent this time are different. I'm pretty sure Vance sent these other ones too. Either way, very cool. And like I said, I've already put those away. I just got like a big box I keep those in. But he also threw in a copy of his friend's band, Mathian, Darling Television. I'm actually spinning this right now. Just like I said, I haven't been spinning much lately. Just getting around to spinning this. It's on the pinkest of pink vinyl. And actually Vance wrote a little note here saying this version, I guess the pink vinyl was only available at the shows. So it's kind of the rarest of this. But again, this is just a local band that Vance knows in Chicago. Friends with them. And very cool. This isn't hard rock, this isn't metal. He even wrote a note saying, hey, I'm not sure if you'll dig this, but I dig it. It's got it's like a funk feel to it. You guys are very, very talented, man. They're not just hitting bar chords, pounding on bar chords, which I don't have a problem with, but I'm just saying, these guys they got some talent to them. Very cool band, and I appreciate this, Vance. Definitely cool. I guess in the VC I'm known as the metal guy or one of the metal guys, whatever. But my tastes are pretty broad. I freaking knack. So yeah, I can definitely dig this. Very cool, and I appreciate it, man. It was a great trade. Thank you so much for picking up that Def Leppard for me, dude. Next, one more thing. I did a trade with he's non-VC member, but kind of know him through another VC member, which is Aaron, Metal Theologian. Anyways, cool story of this record. We have a little Facebook group. It's just a couple of us. Thunder. There's just a couple of us in there. A few, like maybe 15 people or something. And I was online, came across this crazy looking record, but it was like $100, $115 or something like that. And I'm like, wow, that's just nuts. You know, early 80s, looks fantastic, but this kid ain't paying that much for her record. But I copied that picture, put it on the Facebook group, and I'm like, wow, this is the craziest looking record, man. I'd love to track this thing down just for the cover alone, but there's no way I'd pay that kind of money. One of the guys in the group said, I just came across that record. Yeah, I'll do a trade if you're interested. And that's what we did. Just crazy, man. Within like a week, I saw that record and I was kind of like obsessing on the cover. It's just so over the top. And hooked up with someone that had an extra copy. Anyways, I'm rambling. But the album is Squadron, First Mission. And I love this freaking cover. Look at this. The hair and everything. It looks like it's going to be a full-on metal album. It's not. It's pretty much like early 80s hard rock. It starts out kind of like almost a power poppy first couple songs, and then it gets more rocking as each song goes. By the time you get to the end of the album, it's pretty hard rock. But just the album cover alone, is fantastic. They were from New England, somewhere up in there, and this came out like in '82, if I remember right. So, thanks, dude. Thank you so much for freaking that. Thank you so much for the trade, and he's actually a big Wrathchild America fan, which everybody knows I am too. I'm basically from Shannon Larkin's hometown. Used to watch him all the time when I was growing up. I had a couple things he didn't have, or had a thing he didn't have on a radio compilation from up in York, Pennsylvania, and did a trade. So that's it. We'll get into what's been spinning and just a couple new things, new releases here at the beginning. And I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail because this is going to be a long video and I've already rambled way too much already. So, this just got reissued on vinyl. Pretty much, I think, for the first time. And very cool. It's a Winterhawk Revival. Vintage Rockadrome. Put it out on vinyl. I've had this on CD. I think the CD is an actual Monster release. These guys were 70s Chicago, killer guitar player, 70s hard rock, man. He definitely, it's not going to rip your face off. And it has a couple tracks here and there that kind of mellow out, but very good album. Good 70s hard rock. Very much worth tracking down. Rockadrome has them right now. They're like 18 to 20 bucks, something like that. If you're into the heavy 70s, Garen, Corey, all those guys, this is definitely worth checking out. I'm happy to see Rockadrome reissuing this. I'm hoping, like I said, this was an old Monster release. I'm hoping this kind of leads to the Amulet, which was another Monster release. Amulet was a late 70s hard rock band. That album is fan-freaking-tastic. I'm hoping they do that on vinyl, too. Okay, next up, 3 records from one band, reissues. 2 of them I was super excited to get. I've been wanting to get these. The other one was just, I grabbed it because they reissued, and I have an original. It's in very playable shape, but I wanted to get a reissue, so went ahead and grabbed it. Video or two ago, I picked up an original pressing of Voivod's Nothingface, one of my all-time favorite albums. Did I say reissue? It was an original pressing. Anyways, I was super happy to find that, and that kind of got me on the hunt to pick up a couple that I'm missing, which here they come out in reissues. Noise Records is reissuing a bunch of stuff. They're doing some Celtic Frost, Creator, Destruction. They're doing all kind of cool stuff right now that's kind of hitting this summer. First ones come out were these Voivod reissues. Dimension, is it Hatros or Hatros? I've heard it pronounced both ways. Killer. The Voivod, to me, you know, with Roar and War and Pain, you know, that stuff is very cool, very noisy. You can see these guys were really, you know, in those first couple albums are really stretching out and they're trying to do something different. But man, by the time, you know, they get to this album and Killing Technology and then Nothingface, it's like, wow, like leaps and bounds. Just an amazing band. You can just start with their first album up through Nothingface and just hear the progression and how unbelievable, you know, their jump was from album to album. But there's the inner. Super happy to have that, and also got Killing Technology. Super happy, man. Just yeah, kind of came at the right time. After picking up Nothingface, I was kind of looking at original pressings of those, and yeah, they're a little pricey. And they also did Roar. They didn't do War and Pain because I think that's been reissued. Is it Moral Music? Maybe did it, and I think Metal Blade did it. I can't remember. Here's the inner, but it's been reissued a few times. So that might be maybe why they skipped it. I kind of hope they do Angel Rat, but I don't know if they can because, you know, I think by then Voivod had moved on. Shit, what label were they on? Mechanic or something like that. I can't remember. They moved on to more of a, you know, a bigger label. So I don't know if Noise will have the rights to reissue those. And this one I think I showed in the last video, but I've spun it a good many times since that last video. And it's Demon Knight, Darkness Remains. And man, this album gets better with every spinning. Freaking fantastic. Yeah, they've changed. Definitely a much more polished production, but that's all right, man. This is just a good band, and I hope they keep going, putting stuff out. I'm excited to kind of follow them and see what they do. They've definitely risen to the top with the bigger bands of the new wave of traditional heavy metal. Yeah, if you haven't checked them out, you know, I mean, they're right up there. Black Trip, who is sadly no more. You know, Enforcer, all that stuff. They're one of the top tier bands. These next two I've actually had around for a while, and they were in the just in piles, and finally broke down and listened to them. I thought they were going to be. I remember this band as a kid, but I don't remember ever hearing them. I remember seeing these records as a kid in the 80s. But I never really checked them out because I thought they were going to be noisy thrash or whatever, which they have a little bit in there. But Dead Brain Cells, DBC. This is their first album. Very cool, but it does have a bit of that noise, and it's like right on the edge of breaking down, you know what I mean, at points. But still good. You can tell, you know, there's some talent there, and, you know, definitely worth checking out. But by the second album, Universe, they freaking pull it together, man. Production's better. This is a great album. I really dig these guys. And like I said, they're just that speed thrash, whatever you want to call it. Both these albums come out on Combat. And again, I've had these, I think I picked them up both same time somewhere, probably 2-3 years ago, and they've been sitting over here, and I just finally got around to spinning them. And my bad, I should have spun both of them before, because these are really good albums, especially this one. I dug the hell out of this. Surprised these haven't been reissued somehow. It wouldn't surprise me if they have been. Maybe I've just missed it somewhere down the line. And pulled out Raven, Wipeout, classic early Raven. I mean, come on. Never checked out early Raven. You know, and you're a metal guy, you really need to. Metal girl, whatever you want to say. This is on Neat Records. Original pressing. Very cool. And this has been reissued a few times. I think I may have a reissue laying around here somewhere. Mad Rain. This was in Just Impulse too, and same deal. I thought they were going to be kind of a, by this cover, looks like they're going to be a noisy kind of speed metal band, something like that, and really not. And you know, in the back, you look at the front cover, and then look at the back. It kind of doesn't match. It almost looks like a hard rock, hair kind of metal band, and that's kind of more what they are. They're definitely more of a hard rocking kind of band. Again, I really dug this, and this is on Azure International. Oops, can't see much there, huh? But like I said, I've had this for a while, and I thought it was going to be one of those noisy speed metal bands, which isn't. You know, I'm not a huge like early Creator and all that stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. So I've definitely acquired more of a taste for it lately, which there's a couple in here that will kind of attest to that. But very cool. Cover really doesn't fit the album. And here's one of those bands, Living Death, Protected from Reality. Crazy cover, or cool cover. And they are one of those, you know, speed metal, can be a little, you know, noisy, dirty, whatever. Germany, if I remember right. I didn't go back and refresh myself on any of these. This is just what's been spun. I'm going to show them. So if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, who gives a shit? Look it up yourself. But even the back picture, yeah, it just looks like these guys are going to be crusty, man. And they kind of are, but very, you know, very cool album. Dug that more. And I've heard this before. It's been a long time, though. So I pulled it out and gave it another spin. And, yeah, cool. I was feeling in a hair mood. Pulled out Lillian Axe. Christ, I don't know a lot about these guys. I can't remember where they were from. They're American. It's on MCA. But this is just total, you know, late 80s hair metal. Might even been early 90. 88. As you can see by the picture here on the back. I think they only did the 2 albums, this one and what was it, Love and War or something like that. And again, just straight up hair metal. Good stuff. I mean, you know, melodic hard rock, whatever you want to call it. Wow, this was from a trade early on when I was in the VC, maybe a couple years into the VC, with Kenneth. Great Short Films, I think, is his channel on YouTube, who has the melodic hard rock, hair metal, whatever you want to say, vinyl collection. If you've never checked out Kenneth's videos and you dig hair metal, MTV metal, melodic hard rock, whatever, check him out. The stuff, you know, he has, just drool over. It's like, holy shit, I didn't even know that was available on vinyl, and Kenneth is showing it. But anyways, we did a trade, and like I said, this was probably 3 years ago, and he threw this in. It's the debut from Baby Animals. This probably 1990, somewhere around in there. 91, I think. My eyes suck. Female fronted. I can't remember her name now. She went on and married Nuno Betancourt from Extreme. They may even still be married. Australian band. Very cool. This album made a little bit of an impact. Played a couple videos on MTV. They opened for Van Halen when they were touring in America, you know, for this album. Yeah, it's just really good. I mean, it's not metal. It's just hard rock. Really good guitar player and really good singer. I dig her voice. She kind of has that, whatever you want to call, a little bit of that whiskey voice kind of, but a very good singer. I've always dug this, and you know, when I had a chance to do a trade with Kenneth to get it on vinyl. I was super happy to get that in. Next, just pulled this out on a whim. Legs Diamond out on bail. Legs Diamond was from LA, if I remember correct. Late 70s. First couple albums, actually mid to late 70s. First couple albums are killer hard rock. And then they kind of tried to do the changeover, you know, coming into the 80s, just like Priest did, and the Scorpions and Crocus, all those bands. It didn't quite work for Legs Diamond. This one is a little more trying to get into the metal side of it. It's on Music for Nations. Not a bad album by any means, but nothing fantastic. Worth picking up, you know, if you come across it for a few bucks. But their first two albums are really good. As far as, like, you know, kind of a 70s hard rock sound. And speaking of Crocus, One Vice at a Time. And I remember a couple of years ago, Crocus got a little bit of love in the BC. People were kind of talking about them and checking them out. Because they were one of those bands that, you know, just kind of get shit on now after the 80s. You know, the 80s, you had fucking Crocus and Doc and Poison and all that shit. Whatever. Crocus was a killer band, man. I mean, they were, you know, in that AC/DC style coming into the 80s. They definitely changed a little bit, you know, around the Blitz and all that. Got a little more commercial. But these early 80s albums are man, they're just killer hard rock metal albums. And you know what, man? I mean, I say what you want about Crocus. I think they were a great band. They put out some really cool records back then. And if you're giving them or talking shit about them or whatever, you haven't really checked them out, I don't think. Next, Malice, License to Kill. Pulled this one out to spin. I think these guys were from California, from LA also. Very kind of a Judas Priest influenced kind of band, mid-80s, late 80s. This is 87, and this was the second album, I think. I always think of like Warrior when I think of Malice. Kind of a similar band musically. Again, this is an album I really dug. Pulled it out to spin, and then after I pulled it out, I was like, man, I think when I was going through the Just In piles the other day, I saw another copy of that, which I did. I picked it up cheap somewhere. So I pulled that one out, and because I hadn't spun it, I wanted to make sure everything was good with it, so spun that one too. No need to show both, but I did. Alright, next up is Mallet Head. And here's the vinyl. And I'll be honest, I can't freaking remember this at all. It was probably close to a month ago I spun this. Probably need to spin it again. I don't remember it being too memorable. And you see this around all the time. I think it's just kind of hard rock, if I remember right. Who knows? That's sad. Pulled this out, and that was in a Just In pile. That's why I, pulled it out and spun it. Pulled this out of the collection to spin Mentors. You asked for it. Fucking love the Mentors. Just so over the top and stupid. And this is an original on Death. If you've never checked out the Mentors, you should. They're just very un-PC, very... I don't know how well a band like this would go over today, but totally different kind of music, but Steel Panther kind of pulls it off. But these guys are even more rude at times than Steel Panther. Songs like Sandwich of Love, Shocked and Grossed, Herpes, Sleep Bandits, it's a really good song, Golden Shower, Clap Queen, just fun band. And who's the singer? El Deuce, was that his name? Guy here in the hooded guy in the middle. Supposedly that's the one, or that's the dude that killed Kurt Cobain. Whatever. And then he ended up getting killed on train tracks. Fell asleep on train tracks somewhere, and train hit him. Next, pulled out of the collection, Megadeth, Killing Is My Business. I hadn't heard this forever, and this is original on Combat, or Combat Pressing at least. Everybody, I'm sure, is aware of this album. If not, why are you watching my channel? Another German band, if I remember right, SDI. Satan's Deformation Incorporated. And this has actually been in the Just pile for a long time also. And these guys, if I remember right, and again, some of these, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I've spun them. These guys weren't quite as dirty thrash as I thought they were going to be by looking at this picture on the back. Cool album. I remember really digging that. And that's, you know, I wish I could say more. Most of the stuff I spun like once here in the last month. So next, one of my favorite albums. I can't remember where I got this. Maybe down in Myrtle Beach years ago. I pulled it out to spin. Not Faking It by Michael Monroe, lead singer for Hanoi Rocks. Was this his first solo album? I remember being a bunch of people in here, and I can't remember who all it was, but you know, kind of helped him out a little bit on this. I think I may be wrong there, but anyways, when this album came out, definitely hit MTV. They, you know, Dead Jail or Rock and Roll. There's a video for that. This is just a good, fun album to listen to. You know, it's not like hair metal or anything like that. It's just, or maybe it is. I don't know. It's just good hard rock fun. You know what I mean? Kind of just like Hanoi was. But this is definitely amped up more than Hanoi. Okay, next. This was kind of part of that trade for the Squadron album. I had an extra copy of this. I sent my extra as part of that trade. So, but I pulled mine out to give it a listen. Been a little while. And, of course, this is a classic. Exciter, Violence of Force. Yeah, it's on the Megaforce label. Again, I mean, come on, it doesn't get much more classic 80s underground metal. If you've never checked this album out, you know, do so. Those early Exciter albums are fantastic. Pulled out Anvil, Forged in Fire. Just hadn't heard this forever. It's kind of cool. It's got the order form and all that on the inner. You can order some Anvil gear. We got jersey shirts, t-shirts. That's a cool necklace. Anybody got that Anvil necklace? John, Bip Bop Boom. Did you ever order that? I'd wear the hell out of that. Alright, next, Forbidden, Raw Evil, live at Dynamo. Live at the Dynamo. This was EP, correct? Can't remember now. Jesus. It's on Combat. Yeah. It's like a 4-track EP on Combat. Just pulling stuff out to check out, and that is a gold stamp promo. Bay Area Thrash. Accept. First album, right? Check them out. Look at Udo with the long hair. So young. What is this? Like 79, 80? 1980. I used to see these around all the time. You know, 10 years ago. I haven't seen it for a long time out there floating around. It's not like it was a hard album to find. But kind coming out of the 70s. You know, this one's got definitely more of a hard rock sound to it. You know, the next album or two, they would get that accept more of what we know that accept sound to be. This reissue picked up a while back and finally just spun it. I do have an original, but classic album, so I wanted to check out the reissue and just kind of have it in the collection. And the Ultraviolence debut from Death Angel. It's on white vinyl. A nice reissue. If you dig Death Angel, you know, you definitely want to check out the first album. Next is Dark Angel, Darkness Descends. This is a reissue, I think on Back on Black. Yeah. 2 LP reissue. Some bonus stuff on here, I think. I don't know, I can't read it. I'm just not a huge fan of this band. And I think this is kind of the one everybody talks about. I remember checking them out in the 80s, you know, when they were kind of getting going or whatever, you know. I remember a friend had this on probably cassette. And I just wasn't that into it back then. And I'm still not into it. I don't know what it is about this band. They just kind of don't do it for me. And that might be all I have by them. I may have a live thing that Back on Black put out. I found like mega cheap. I think I do have that. Next, just an odd Scorpions best of. I shouldn't say odd, but just one you don't, see that often. And it's the 70s stuff with Uli John Roth. And you see the, hopefully you see the track listings if the glare isn't killing it. Cool cover. I'm not sure what year. I mean, it's an official. It's on RCA. I don't see the year on it, but I'm not gonna pull it all apart here. But it's a cool comp. And again, you see this one around too. I don't see it anymore, but you know, if you do see it, it's probably only $3 or $4 or something. Pulled out some Tank. This Means War. Still in the shrink. On Music for Nations. Tank, you know, part of that new wave British heavy metal, I guess, with they have that Motorhead Venom-y sound to them, but just kind of fit in there, you know, in that Motorhead kind of style. Cool band. Everybody knows Tank, I'm sure. So pull that out. And the last one, German hair metal, if I remember right, like late 80s craft. Very melodic, hard rock, good guitar player, 3-piece. I remember seeing videos from these guys on MTV kind of in the late 80s. And by then, you know, back then it was a flood of hair metal bands, you know, MTV metal bands, whatever you want to call them. And by then, I mean, I paid no attention to them when they were showing the video back then. I picked this up probably 5 or 6 years ago. But I was done with it by then, you know, into the thrash scene and all that. And then the early 90s, or probably about 89, 90 is when, you know, started picking up on Mother Love Bone and Soundgarden and all the Seattle stuff and Nirvana's first album. And still listening to thrash, so like that 89, 90, 91, that era of hair metal, I missed all that, man, back in the day, which is crazy. And I love picking it up now. You know, I can listen to it again now. But back then it was like so oversaturated, man. It's like all it was on. But anyways, that's it. This is probably going to be a super long video, sorry. Not making as many videos as I used to, so I'll just throw up a big one, and that'll have to suffice for 2, 3, 4 weeks. So hope everybody in the VC is doing well. I'm way behind on videos. Pretty much not watched hardly anything over the last week or two, but hopefully today I'm going to try and catch up a little bit. So that's it. Have a good one, VC. Later.